Hello and welcome to the Spirit Spa, where today's message from the wilderness is going to be answering the question, how do you heal trauma in the early stages of recovering from a breakdown? This is the Spirit Spa, an online sanctuary dedicated to supporting you if you're in the early stages of recovering from a nervous breakdown, so that you can identify why the breakdown has happened to you and work out your next natural steps towards rebuilding a flourishing life for yourself. I'm Karen Packwood, the UK's leading expert on recovery in the early stages of healing from a nervous breakdown. So, let's begin by defining what we mean by trauma. In the Cambridge English Dictionary, trauma is described thus: a severe emotional shock and pain caused by an extremely upsetting experience. Now, those of you that are in the early stages of recovering understand that that is a very simple yet accurate explanation of trauma. Now, trauma is quite complex in relation to a nervous breakdown, partly because trauma has often preceded the breakdown, and then of course the breakdown itself is a traumatic experience. So it's not as if you're dealing with just one traumatic experience. You're actually dealing with several traumatic experiences. You have the traumatic experience of the breakdown, the traumatic experiences that led up to the breakdown immediately preceding it, and then for many people there have been traumatic experiences, back in the past that have also contributed to the actual breakdown. So that's a really quite a heavy load of trauma that you're carrying, particularly in the early stages of recovery. But what do you do about healing it? Well, let's begin by exploring how the trauma impacts on you. One of the first things that it does, of course, is that often it can debilitate you physically. When you've actually had a breakdown, you often find yourself in a state where you're unable to function in every way, including physically. So often people find themselves, at home in bed, frightened of actually going out into the world, wanting to stay in the safety of their own home. And for many people, it's actually in the safety of their own bedroom. And then even more than that, often at the beginning, it's in the safety of your own bed. There is that natural desire to want to protect yourself, to keep yourself protected from the world. And of course, that's a very natural and understandable response when the world has become overwhelmingly traumatic. Once you're past that particular early stage of the breakdown, you then find that as you begin to sort of make the journey of coming back into the world, which often is actually just, to start with, it's often just coming back into your own home, maybe going downstairs for the first time, maybe going outside for the first time, you then find that you might actually suffer from quite a lot of anxiety, which is obviously, it feels very traumatic when you're suffering from overwhelming anxiety. Often people also find that they feel quite depressed as well. So these are some of the physical, emotional and psychological manifestations of the trauma that we're carrying. Many of you will be familiar with the fight or flight response to trauma. We either stand up to it or we run away from it. But there are a couple of other responses that people often aren't aware of. The third one is freeze, and the fourth one is appease. Now, I'm going to talk about the fourth one first, actually, because many people, when they actually begin to reflect on their breakdown experience, they can recognise that prior to the breakdown experience, they might have been the kind of person, without realising it, who was busy appeasing people, appeasing stressful situations, trying to make things okay, trying to smooth things over, trying to tolerate these experiences. But then, of course, it becomes too much. There's a final conflict, there's a final breaking that then triggers the breakdown. And this is when then people often then come into the freeze situation. The freeze initially is a very healthy component of the breakdown. It's that moment when you are, in your bed, in your bedroom, keeping yourself safe emotionally, psychologically, physically, in every way. But of course you can't stay in that frozen place forever. We need to actually come to a point where we can kind of thaw ourselves out, if you like. And that's when you then begin to actually, feel connected and feel the anxiety and depression and so on creeping in. But how do we overcome that? We don't want to live with the depression forever. We don't want to live with the anxiety forever. So what can we do about this? Well, in this video, one of the main focuses that I'm going to be bringing our attention to is where the trauma is stored in our bodies, where it lives in our bodies. This is not going to be a journey into re-triggering trauma. It's not going to be revisiting memories. It's going to be exploring the physical sensation of trauma and where it lives in our body. Many of you will be familiar with your legs going weak when you're frightened, tremoring and shaking when you feel anxious, palpitations, maybe a sense of feeling as if you're suffocating a little bit when the panic attacks come in, maybe sometimes a sense of gridlock in your brains. There will be all sorts of physical manifestations that you're very familiar with when you're feeling anxiety and depression, those physical sensations that are connected with your trauma. Now, what I'm going to be doing is taking you through a guided relaxation process that is going to help you actually identify where these trauma feelings are actually sitting in your body. And then we're going to just, I'm going to guide you all through it. I'm going to just help you find ways of bringing a sense of relaxation, a sense of peace to these, where you can kind of soften those very difficult and very overwhelming feelings and just bring some respite to the traumatic feelings. And it might be that you actually find that you begin to be able to completely transform, release and heal those feelings. This tends to be something that needs to be done over a period of time, either by repeating the process that I'm going to take you through today, or maybe doing some deeper healing work. So what do you need in order to enter into this relaxation healing process this afternoon? Well, first of all, you're going to need between 15 to 20 minutes of undisturbed time. You're also going to need some water, and it might also be really helpful for you to have your wilderness journal, a pen and paper close by, because you might find that you want to make some notes as you go along. Remember that as we go through the process, if you feel that you would like to spend a little bit more time on a certain aspect of the process, remember that you can pause the video and then restart it once you are ready. So let's begin. I'm just going to put my paper down and get myself organised too. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to just bring yourself into a place where you feel very comfortable, where you feel warm and cosy, where you have your glass of water close by, where you have your pen and paper close by. Remember to make sure that you're not going to be disturbed, to make sure people aren't going to knock on the door or take phones out and things like that. So I want to invite you, if you feel safe, to allow yourself to close your eyes. And I'm going to close my eyes too, but I want you to now just allow yourself to close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. I don't want you to make any changes. I just want you to notice your breath coming into your body and your breath coming out of your body. And just notice, do you feel yourself breathing very deeply, or do you feel yourself breathing very shallowly? And there's no judgments here. This is not about right or wrong. This is just about noticing and observing. And just notice your breath coming into your body and your breath coming out of your body. And you might find that your body begins to naturally relax, that your breath begins to very naturally slow down. And then as you do this, I just want you to cast your mind's eye around your body. I'm going to mention different aspects of your body. And as I do this, bring your attention to that part of your body and just ask yourself, just notice, what does this part of your body feel like? Does it feel tense? Does it feel weak? Can you feel this part of your body? What does this part of your body feel like? Does it feel anxious? Does it feel calm? Does it feel peaceful? What feel like? So let's begin by bringing your attention to your mind. Just notice your mind. We have many, many thoughts whizzing through our minds all the time. Now I don't want you to change anything here. I just want you to notice. What does your mind feel like? Just observe neutrally without judgment. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Allow your breath to keep flowing evenly throughout the whole of this process. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to your nose. I just want you to notice this breath coming into your nose and out of your nose. How does your nose feel? Sounds like a funny question, but just notice, how does your nose feel? Does it feel open? Is it allowing beautiful, fresh, new oxygen into your body? Or is part of it shut down? Just allow your nose and your nostrils to relax and to receive this beautiful, fresh oxygen. And now I'd like you to bring your attention down to your shoulders. We store an awful lot of tension in our shoulders. And I just want you to notice, do your shoulders feel tense? Do they feel rigid? Are they hunched? Are they contracted? No judgments, just notice. How do your shoulders feel? And then I'd like you to bring your attention to the area in between your shoulder blades. How does this particular part of your body feel? I'm just going to be quiet for a moment. We seem to have an aeroplane going overhead, so I'm just going to be quiet to allow the aeroplane to pass by, and then I'll continue. So just bring your attention to that area in between your shoulder blades. Does it feel tense? Does it feel rigid? Does it feel as if there's an air of constriction there? Does it feel as if there's a stabbing pain there? Just notice, no judgments. And you might find that as you bring your attention to these parts of your body, they begin to very naturally and gently relax anyway. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to your fingers. Take your breath down into your fingers. And how do your fingers feel? Do they feel weak? Do they feel trembly? Do they feel tense and rigid? Do you naturally clasp your fists together? Or your bones rigid? Or are they weak and loose? Or are they relaxed? Just notice your palms of your hands. Notice your fingers, notice your thumbs, notice your wrists. How do they feel? Take a nice deep breath into them, and if you can feel any tension, give it permission to be released now. All you need to do is just take a nice deep breath in, and then as you breathe out, just imagine that that tension is being released. This is a very gentle and simple way of just bringing some respite to any trauma that you're holding in your body. And now let's take another nice deep breath in. This time as you breathe out, I'd like you to bring your attention to your stomach. Those of you that suffer from anxiety will know that often it's in your stomach that you can often feel that churning nausea, the panic. You can often feel like really restricted stomach muscles, tense, contracted. You might feel like you want to vomit sometimes. Just bring your attention down to your tummy. You might even want to put your hands on your tummy very gently. And just notice, how does your tummy feel? How does it feel today? Does it feel tense? Does it feel nauseous? Is it churning? Can you feel kind of anxiety? Having anxiety palpitations in your stomach? Just notice, no judgment. And as you do so, just take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe in, breathe deeply down into your stomach, giving permission for peace, gentleness and tranquility to enter into your stomach muscles. And then as you breathe out, just give permission for the tenseness, any anxiety to just be released. And just imagine it flowing away from you, gently and peacefully. Keep doing this for as long as you need to, until any sense of anxiety or panic is being released from your stomach. Now take a nice deep breath in and bring your attention really deep down into your thighs. We have a lot of tension in our thighs without realising it. And just notice your thighs without any judgment. Just notice how they feel. Do they feel weak? Do they feel tense? Do they feel jittery? Maybe you can't feel them. Sometimes when we have extreme trauma, we kind of find that there are areas of our body that we actually can't feel as well, or maybe they feel numb. Bring your attention to your thighs, back of your thighs, the top of your thighs, deep in the muscles. Just take a nice deep breath in and imagine that as you're breathing in, imagine that you're breathing in beautiful peace, gentleness, tranquility into your thighs. And as you breathe out, you give permission for tension, anxiety, trauma to be released. You don't have to know what this is related to, but just give it permission to be released. And allow those muscles to be relaxed. Allow the tension, the trauma, the fears, the anxiety to just gently lift away from you, float away from you. Now take a really nice deep breath in and breathe your attention down into your knees. Just notice your knees. Again, do they feel tense? Do they feel rigid? Do they feel weak? Do they feel numb? Do they feel jittery? Just notice and observe. This is making sort of friends, if you like, with your anxiety. This is making a gentle connection with it, rather than anything to be frightened of or judgmental about. And then when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine that you're breathing in gentleness, peace, calm, serenity, acceptance, confidence. And as you breathe out, give yourself permission to release any tension or trauma, anxiety or doubt that you're holding into your knees. And again, you don't have to know what this is about. You can just give yourself permission to let it be released. And then when you're ready, take a really nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. And allow yourself to bring your attention down to your lower leg, to your shins and your calf. And again, just notice, how do they feel? Can you feel them, or do they feel numb? Do they feel tense? Do they feel weak? Do they feel jittery? Just notice, and again, this is a neutral observation. This is an acceptance. By allowing this natural state to come forward, you can begin a gentle process of releasing, healing, and transforming. And when you're ready, allow yourself to take a nice deep breath in, breathing in gentleness, peace, tranquility, love, care, deep into the muscles and into the bones. And then as you breathe out, allow yourself to release any trauma that is held in this part of your body, and you don't have to know what this is about. If anything comes to you, just allow it to be released naturally. Don't hold on to it, don't dive into it, don't engage with it. Allow it to just float away from you naturally. Keep doing this until you feel as if you are fully complete with this. And then when you're ready, take a really nice deep breath in and allow yourself to breathe down into your ankles. And as you breathe down into your ankles, I'd like you to just notice how your ankles feel. Do they feel tense? Do they feel weak? Do they feel jittery? Can you not feel them? Just observe how your ankles are feeling. Then, when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in and breathe in gentleness, peace, calm, serenity, love. Just breathe these into your ankles. And as you breathe out, allow yourself to breathe out any tension, any trauma, any anxiety, any depression that is being held in this part of your body. And keep doing this until this feels complete. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to bring your attention to your feet. Take a nice deep breath in and bring your attention down to your feet, to the soles of your feet, to your ankles, to the heels of your feet, to the top of your feet, and to every single toe and in between your toes. And just notice how your feet feel. Do they feel tense? Do they feel weak? Do they feel jittery? It's astonishing when you do deeper work with trauma and where you actually hold trauma in your body. It's really quite astonishing to find some of the locations for where we store trauma. So just take a nice deep breath in. Again, this is non-judgmental, just noticing and observing. If any thoughts and feelings are coming to you, just notice them, don't engage with them. Just allow them to now gently breathe away from you. And give permission for all that no longer serves you, any trauma, tension, anxiety and depression, to be released, that is waiting to be released from you. Give it permission to be released. Take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. And when this feels complete, I want you to imagine these feet. There's another plane going over. Seem to have I'll be on some kind of flight path suddenly. So I'm just going to be quiet to allow this to pass over, but keep connecting with your breathing, keep connecting with your feet, and then I'll begin again in a moment. And now I'd like you to bring your attention to the soles of your feet. I'd like you to imagine that your feet are bare and you have them placed on beautiful warm grounds beneath your feet. It might be warm soil, warm sand, or warm grass. And just bring yourself down into a deep connection with the earth beneath you, strong and solid beneath you. Often, when we feel traumatized, however that's manifesting itself, we can feel very, very ungrounded, both within ourselves and within the world in general. So it's really helpful to bring yourself through this kind of relaxation process, to bring yourself into connection with the earth. It's helpful to take time in nature, actually feeling the earth beneath your feet, beneath the palms of your hands, actually smelling the soil. Take time. And if you can't actually do this in reality, then allow yourself to do this. Allow yourself to do this in your imagination. Take a nice deep breath in and allow yourself to connect with the earth beneath your feet. Then, when you're ready, I'd like you to just allow yourself to bring your attention to your breath. Just bring it back fully to your breath. And I want you to imagine now that you are breathing in a beautiful white light. This is the white light of love and healing. And you've breathed it in during this process into every single cell of your being. And now I would like you to imagine that you're actually allowing this breath to create a beautiful white sacred bubble around yourself. This is a beautiful sacred layer of protection. It's you very consciously connecting with safe boundaries around yourself. Again, when we feel traumatized, when we feel anxious, we often have very loose kind of safe boundaries around ourselves. We're not connected with our own boundaries. So this is a way of just giving yourself a very beautiful, safe and sacred boundary. A space in which only you can operate and anybody else who you feel safe enough to allow them in can operate. So take a few moments to connect with this beautiful, sacred safe, sacred boundary around yourself. And when you feel complete with this, I'd like you to take a few moments to pick up your journal. Maybe make some notes. What did you notice? How did you feel? Did anything shift for you? Take time to make notes, draw sketches. You might be surprised what kind of wisdom and healing guidance comes forward for you as you begin to draw, as you begin to write. Time for this. Just see what comes forward. If you wish to share anything that does come forward for you, please do so in the comments box below, or email me at karenpackwood@gmail.com. Sometimes it really helps to shift things by actually sharing them as well. So take time. And then when you're ready, take time. Remember that you can pause the video if you need more time to do the writing and so on. Give yourself the time to do this. And then when you're ready, just place your journal down. Bring yourself back to your breath. Consciously breathing in now and allowing this breath to come into your body and out of your body. And just notice how your body feels now compared to how it felt when you began the process. And remember that this is a process that you can use every morning when you wake up if you're feeling anxious, at any other point of the day when you feel anxious or traumatized, or before you go to bed at night so that you can have a peaceful night's sleep. Heal traumatic feelings. Just take a few moments to be very gentle with yourself as you kind of re-enter back into your everyday life, and remember that you might feel as if you want to sleep and have a rest now. That's absolutely fine. Give yourself time to do this. So as we come to the end of today's video, I'd like to thank you and congratulate you for taking time to give yourself this healing space. But how can I help you further? If you have any questions in relation to this video, this process, or any aspect of your healing journey, please let me know. Please ask me by either leaving them in the comments box below or emailing me at karenpackwood@gmail.com. If you do email me, there will be an additional complimentary video for you, process meditation video for you that isn't available on YouTube, so please feel free to email me to receive that. Also, know that you can ask me anything that you would like to ask me. It doesn't just have to be about trauma. Remember, if you like this video, please like it. And if you want to receive regular updates from me, please do so by hitting the subscribe button and the bell to receive the notifications. So this is Karen Packwood. This is the Spirit Spa, an online sanctuary dedicated to supporting you if you're in the early stages of recovering from a nervous breakdown, so you can identify why the breakdown has happened to you and work out your next natural steps towards rebuilding a flourishing life for yourself. And I'm wishing you a very peaceful and loving day. Goodbye.